Demoniacal Fit True Believer is the latest release in the third-party company series of s.h.figuarts Dragon Ball style figures. This time around, Demoniacal Fit have once again come to the rescue, giving us collectors a second chance to obtain what was originally an exclusive to the Premium Bandai website and only made available to US residents. I am of course talking about the s.h.figuarts Dragon Ball Super Zamasu. However, this isn't just your run-of-the-mill knockoff of the official figure. True Believer offers so much more and in many ways ones up Tamashii's original release. So before we take a closer look at the figure, I just want to give a shout out to 5K Toys for sending this to me out a little quicker than I expected. I've had this figure now for a good couple of days. They are based in the States, but also ship internationally as I live here in Japan. And I think I got True Believer in around the same time as most other people who actually live in the States. So thank you guys for getting this out to me as soon as you did. You can also find many other third-party Dragon Ball figures and accessories, including the most recently announced Majin Vegeta, again from Demoniacal Fit. I know it's a figure that a lot of collectors missed out on with the official release, so it's definitely a great chance to pick up that figure if you don't have it already in your collection. Pre-orders are up. I'm definitely going to be picking this one up myself. I think it's going to be a good one, so don't miss out. Like many collectors outside of the US, I also missed out on the original release of Zamasu, so I don't really have a basis of comparison other than what I've seen in other reviews. In saying that, judging this figure on its own merits and comparing Zamasu to Demoniacal Fit's other releases, I can confidently say that DF have upped their game in terms of quality. Ultimate Fighter or Demoniacal Fit's version of Vegito was the first figure I picked up from their line. It was a solid release overall and one that I'm still very happy to this day to have in my collection, but something about the plastic quality and joints just felt a little off when compared to the real deal. The next couple of releases were more or less the same, flawless sculpt, but a little lacking in terms of overall feel and quality. It wasn't really until Counterattacking K that I honestly felt a difference. Same great sculpt work, sharp details, but this time, the figure felt good in your hands. The joints were tight, the articulation was smooth, and the plastic just felt a little bit more substantial, if that makes any sense. Not that I can actually prove any of this, but when you've been collecting for this long, you definitely pick up a sense for these things, I guess. Or I like to believe that I do anyway. But the same overall sense of quality carries over to True Believer as well. Besides the smaller ball hinge pegs that Demoniacal Fit insists on using in their neck joints with their figures, which can be a little bit annoying when you're trying to swap out heads, everything else about the figure feels legitimately official. Again, the tight joints, the smooth movement when you're posing the figure, and the quality of plastic really makes me feel like I'm holding an official release. And again, I can't really make a comparison to the original, but he handles just as good as Potara Zamasu, which is essentially the same figure with a few different part swaps, and of course a different color palette as well. Speaking of colors, the paint application for the most part is very clean, with the exception of a minor imperfection here on the left side skirt. And this is just my copy, a bit of black paint, and I think I can remove it with some rubbing alcohol. But to be honest, there really isn't too much going on with Zamasu in terms of paint apps. The only areas that are painted is the black on the skirt pieces and the shoulders, the yellow trimming around the torso area of his costume, and a bit of gold for the button on his chest there as well. There is zero shading on the figure, which is exactly how the original release was, but I think it works for Zamasu as a character. It's clean, it's simple, there is enough color to the design to keep it relatively interesting and original to the character. The head sculpts look fantastic. Again, simple but clean paint applications. The Potara earrings have a bit of metallic gold and green applied to them. The lips are panel lined with a darker green color, and the eyes are very nicely printed. I was told by my mate Ace from Animated Heroes that on the official release, the hair was a removal piece which you had to swap out every time you wanted to change heads. However, Demoniacal Fit have kind of gone the extra mile in giving us 4 complete interchangeable head sculpts, something that I definitely appreciate. Okay, so jumping right into articulation, if you have the merged Zamasu figure, or even if you have the original figure from Tamashii, the official release from Tamashii, you're going to know what you're getting yourself into. It's pretty standard s.h.figuarts Dragon Ball articulation. There really isn't, anything special going on, but in saying that, it still has some, pretty decent range of movement. Starting off with the head, Zamasu does look up this much, and he can look down actually quite a fair bit. Sorry guys, let's get that to focus. Of course, we get some side-to-side rotation, and we do get a bit of tilt as well, but okay, it's pretty good. That's pretty good. The neck is an independent piece, but it doesn't move all that much, and I'm not sure if that's because my neck piece is stuck to the figure or that's the way it was made. If any of you have the original figure, please let me know. He does have full rotation there at the shoulders, butterfly joints. The butterfly joint there is the same color as his, I guess, his inner shirt, you could say. These shoulder pads are separate pieces, so they do move out of the way when you bring Zamasu's arm up, and he can go about 90 degrees. There is up bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, very nice, and of course we get swivels and hinges at the wrist as well. So this guy has some pretty fantastic torso articulation, as you can see. The upper torso there, around and around it goes. You can get Zamasu to crunch pretty far forward. About that much back. You do get a bit of tilt side to side. And most of the rotation there is in the lower torso, the lower waist joint there. The skirt pieces, broken up in 3 pieces, the left, right, and the back, as well as the front sashia, are made from a softer rubbery plastic. So whilst it does take a bit of effort to get Zamasu in some kicking or split poses like this, it doesn't really hinder the articulation. Of course, these skirt pieces are going to push down on the legs, but the joints are tight enough to hold the position. Zamasu can kick forward and back, doing a perfect splits. You have upper thigh cut, double jointed knees. There we go. Let's get that out of the way. Swivels there at the ankle. The feet point down, pretty far down actually. Not too far up unfortunately, but there is a bit of range of movement there. Toe articulation, but unfortunately, because of the way that the feet are designed, you don't get too much ankle tilt. And if you do have merged Zamasu, if you do have the Goku Black figure, you'll know that, standing this guy up straight, or standing this guy up in any position for that matter, can be a little bit difficult. So there is that. So this is the area where Demoniacal Fit absolutely excels and really outclasses Tamashii in terms of being a release that gives you a lot of bang for your buck. Demoniacal Fit tend to give us something a little bit extra, a bit of incentive for collectors who might already have the official release to pick up their copy as well, and it's all in the accessories. This isn't the first time Demoniacal Fit have done this. We got some extra hands and a scythe with their release of Goku Black. 2 forms, Super Saiyan Blue and Ultra Instinct Omen heads with Tenacious Martialist, as well as a bonus original Jiren head sculpt. But this time with True Believer, Demoniacal Fit have thrown in this beautiful and probably one of my favorite Goku Black Goku heads in the Figuarts line. This looks so damn good and just so menacing. The headpiece is meant to be used with True Believer's body, as they've also provided an extra neck piece, much like the Potara Zamasu, and a set of fists with wrist pegs to complete the look. However, you can definitely pop the head on a Goku Black body or basically any other Goku body that you want to. Demoniacal Fit didn't have to include this, and I still think most collectors would have been just as happy to purchase this figure on its own. But the fact that they did, and I'm hoping this is a continuing trend, really pushes the figure to a whole another level. I don't think I'm going to be having this head on the Zamasu body, but I'm definitely keeping it on a Goku Black figure. As I mentioned before, we get 4 interchangeable heads. The smoking head sculpt is probably my favorite. 2 green fists, 2 flat palm hands, 2 open palm hands, which I think you can use for a variety of poses. And yes, we even get an energy blade in translucent purple, much like the first Goku Black Super Saiyan Rose release. So I also want to mention that you can in fact use the extra hands from merged Zamasu here on True Believer. So if you ever want some extra hands for Zamasu, True Believer, then they do fit perfectly on, as you can see here. Unfortunately, while the hands are interchangeable between both of these figures, the head isn't, and you can see right here that True Believer uses one of those like head plates that Tamashii did with Jiren and some other figures that I can't think off the top of my head right now. But if you take that little plate off, you can see here that the ball peg, as I mentioned earlier, is in fact the same size that Demoniacal Fit have been using on most of their figures, and it is a little bit smaller than the official releases. So whilst you can swap out the hands, the head from merged Zamasu doesn't fit on tight enough, which is, I guess, it's not something that you would probably do, but if you ever did want to do that, it's not a tight fit. So I just had to pick this one up. As I mentioned, I missed out on the original and was pretty bummed out about it. At the time, I couldn't believe Tamashii would make an original character a country-based exclusive, but I can tell you now that I'm more than happy with this figure, and not as a stand-in, but as the Zamasu in my collection that I will probably never get rid of, even if Tamashii decide to re-release or reissue the official. In fact, I am totally fine with not hunting down the official release, and I think Demoniacal Fit has really made this release into more than just another KO. Regardless of how you feel about knockoffs, the quality, the value, and everything Demoniacal Fit has added to this figure, in my opinion, makes for a worthy release, and one that stands above and beyond the official. You can pick up True Believer for about $60 US, and if you're a fan of Super, especially the Goku Black arc, you're going to want this one in your collection. This and Counterattacking K gives me a lot of confidence in Demoniacal Fit and their future releases. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they will improve on Margin Vegeta. But let me know, what do you guys think about Demoniacal Fit? Do you own any of their figures? What's your favorite release from their line? Comments are always appreciated. But 2 exciting reviews coming up next week, Cell Arc Tien and Chaozu, and the second figure from the Imagination Works line, Vegeta. But that's it. Thank you always for tuning in. You guys are the best. Stay safe, keep healthy, and as always, yoroshiku.